Hey guys, Igor here once again with another video, and today I thought I would show you how I would go about drawing something I don't have a lot of, which is hair. Well, at least on the right side of my head. Anyways, it's going to be a simplified technique that I use for all sorts of hairstyles, and I hope it benefits you in some way. So stay tuned and enjoy. So getting into the three examples of the heads that I drew, the sketches for the hair here, just simplified shapes, nothing complicated at all. And that's step one to drawing hair, is break it down into shapes. They can be as organic as you want, or as square and rigid and as cubesque as you want. So I did just three random hairstyles, and then I did this random shape blob thing at the bottom. I decided to just color in the ponytail because I didn't want to spend too much time doing all three, and I grabbed a dark brown color and then I hit it with some highlights on top. Now, the highlights would obviously be facing the direction of your light source, but here I just simplified it and put them on top. And you can see how I break the hair down into sections. So you have the shapes acting as planes, and the top planes are lit up with a brighter color. To show a little bit of volume, I have darker sections underneath those. And that's the basic technique, is first you fill in the color, you hit it with the highlights, the shadows, and you try to color it like it's a giant shape or a lot of smaller shapes. And after that, you can add a couple of hair strands here or there, and it'll make it look like a lot of hair instead of having to draw each and every individual strand on its own. So yeah, this is the wad of hair that I just tried to show. It doesn't necessarily need to follow a particular pattern as long as you treat it with the same steps of fill, highlights, shadows, and then add little hair strands throughout. As this part finishes up here, I want to show you an actual painting that I'm working on where I use the same exact technique. So let's take a look at that. Here we have this little fairy jumping over a flower gap thing. So you see the head hair shape is very dynamic, and I just basically started with one long scribble and turned that into a big shape and broke that shape down into smaller shapes. And you can see that it has sections, and these sections are what help add the volume. And I'm gonna zoom in here and I'll show you that I have the top parts are being hit with the brightest color. It's the highlights. And then just below that, we have the mid-tones, the more natural hair colors showing. And then that last circle there is for the crevices, the darkest of color. It's what's being hit with the least amount of light. So I hope this example kind of makes sense. And you can see that the hair itself, we can tell that it looks like hair, but it's got all these crazy shapes going on. And if I wanted to render this, I'd grab a small brush and I could pick up some of the local colors, let's say the midtones, and drag them out and add a couple of strands to the big bundle. Normally, I wouldn't go so out of the normal shape to prove that point, but hopefully you get the idea that you use a big block and then you add, say, maybe 5 to 10 strands outside of it to make it seem like it's a chunk of hair instead of having to draw thousands and thousands of little strands to make up said block. Anyways, guys, hope you learned something. Maybe it was really hard to understand. It's 4 a.m. here, so that's why I'm talking all weird, but hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Good night.